Welcome back to Trek on the Seven Seas. This is episode number 53, and in this episode we're going to go over the final week as a night transportation lease operator. We're going to go over my final numbers, and then we're going to go over what was good and what was terrible at night transportation. If you are new to this channel, welcome. I started this channel in order to show exactly what truck drivers make. We started as a company driver working for night transportation, and then we moved on to a lease operator working for night transportation, and now we're moving on to an owner-operator working for Landstar. I show all of the loads I take, what the revenue is, what the expenses were, and what my net cash flow is, and I compile all of this information and I put it into a spreadsheet that I share with you at the end of every video. So if this is a topic that interests you, follow the channel. So with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and hop right into the spreadsheet, and we're going to go over week 23, which is the final week at night transportation. Let's go. For week 23, we did 2 loads. In those 2 loads, we got 1,042 miles. We were paid a total of $1,729 for an average of $1.66 per mile. We fueled up one time for $359 for an average of 35 cents per mile. Other expenses: MRP 52, Qualcomm 13, Bobtail 692, physical damage 69, occupational accident policy 34, permits 42, pre-pass 350, truck payment 450, no scales this week, fuel mile tax $31.26, lease security deposit $100 for a total of $802 for an average of 77 cents per mile. Totals for week 23. Total expenses were $1,162 for an average of $1.12 per mile. Total revenue was $1,729 for an average of $1.66 per mile. That brings our net settlement to $566 for an average of 54 cents per mile. Total since starting the program, we have driven a total of 48,977 miles. Total expenses were $53,497 for an average of $1.09 per mile, and that is my cost per mile right there. Total revenue was $88,280 for an average of $1.80 per mile. That brings our net cash flow to $34,782 for an average of 71 cents per mile, and all of these numbers are gross pay. If we had been a company driver during this period, we would have made $26,447 at 54 cents per mile. And if we had been an owner-operator who owned his truck outright, we would have made $43,214 for an average of 88 cents per mile. Averages and other information: average weekly paycheck is $1,512. Average weekly miles is 2,129. Total fuel costs were $27,410 for an average of 56 cents per mile. Total maintenance costs were $4,852 for an average of 10 cents per mile. Other expenses were $17,494 for an average of 36 cents per mile. If I kept this up for a 52-week period, I'd make $78,639 and drive a total of 110,000 miles. We've been employed 161 days, or 23 weeks, taken 20 days off, 141 days on duty, taken 87 total loads, average load length is 563, and the total security deposit at this time is $2,150. Alright, moving on to the volatility graph. This just shows volatility of a company driver versus a lease driver. Company's blue, lease is red. And as you can see, the lease driver is far more volatile than a company driver. Had a bonanza week here where he made a bunch more, kind of stayed stagnant before and after. And then over the last few weeks, it's been all over the place. I had some maintenance issues and took some time off and did a bunch of other stuff around this time period, and it just went all over the place. So again, the red line is lease, and you can just see how much more volatile a lease driver is compared to the company driver, who stays much more stable during this time period. And then just comparing total company pay versus total lease pay. This is just pay in aggregate of a lease driver versus a company driver. So it shows what I would have made in aggregate as a company driver and what I made in aggregate as a lease driver. And if you can scroll over it, you can see week by week what I would have made as a lease driver, and then week by week of what I would have made as a company driver. And you can see over time, I did end up making more as a lease driver. So as a lease driver, I made $34,000. And if I had been a company driver, I only would have made $26,000. And this number is also right here. So those are the same numbers right there. And yeah, just compares the total company pay versus total lease pay of a company, company pay versus a lease driver, and just shows it on a graph, just as a visual representation. And yeah, just more information for you. Okay, caveats for the final week. Big caveat was I only drove for a couple of days. So I'm working on the Landstar application during this time period, and I was doing a bunch of other stuff, and I only drove a couple of days, so it's a super short week. Not much more to say. I mean, super short. Fuel expense was pretty low. Other than that, not much to say. I took basically most of the week off, and as a result, very short week. But there's week 23, the final week at night transportation. Yep. So just scrolling down here, these are my numbers right here. So that's 23 weeks at night transportation, basically 6 months, a little less. And in total, I made 71 cents per mile. There you go. 71 cents per mile is what I made. That includes everything. That includes tolls. That includes taxes, fuel, maintenance expense, everything. Scales, all of it. So there it is, 71 cents per mile. That's what I made, and I hope that's useful to you, because when I was coming up, I couldn't find this information, and I decided to, I'm just going to start a channel, and I'm just going to show this information as transparently as I can, and I feel like I've done that. Honestly, I can't make it any more transparent. You may not like the way it's particularly formatted or whatever, but these numbers are accurate to the best of my ability, and there you go. So now you have numbers and information where previously there was none. So really hope that's helpful to you. And yeah, if you're interested in this spreadsheet or any of these spreadsheets I've done in the past, you can just hit File, Download, and then you can download them right there, and they are all available in the About section. But with that said, we're going to go ahead and move on to a final review of night transportation, and we're going to go over the good, the bad, and the ugly. So starting with the terrible and starting with the ugly. Basically, it's the pay. The pay at night transportation, which is a mega carrier, is mega carrier pay. So I worked as a company driver, and it made an average of 54 cents per mile. You can view that final video right up here somewhere. And then I worked as a lease operator, and I made 71 cents per mile. And again, you just saw the numbers there. So overwhelmingly, that is what's negative at night transportation. It's a mega carrier, and it pays like a mega carrier. And that's the huge one. That's 99% of it. There's basically nothing else, in my opinion. It just doesn't pay very well. Now, there is some minor stuff that I could also kind of gripe about. The idle engine shutdown at 65 degrees or whatever it is, that's annoying. Stuff like that, that certainly can get on your nerves. And, maybe you don't like, the Volvos or the trucks they have available. But all of that is just very minor in comparison to the pay. There's a lot of maybe little negative stuff here and there, but nothing really worth going over, to be honest, in the context of the pay. So that's basically the biggest negative one, and it's the only one that's really even noteworthy to go over, because everything else is okay. But it's a mega carrier, and it's going to pay like a mega carrier. And it did pay like a mega carrier, both as a company driver and as a lease operator. So that's the terrible. That's the ugly. That's the bad. It's a mega carrier, and it pays like a mega carrier. But what are the pros? What's the good? So the good thing about night transportation is honestly pretty much everything else. They generally have good terminals all over the United States, and you can generally find a terminal probably within a couple 100 miles of you for, I would say, about 90+% of the US population. You can park at these terminals, you can use their showers, you can be dispatched out of these terminals, and because they have so many terminals, they have a wide variety of loads and a wide variety of routes. So no matter where you are, you can generally find a terminal near you and have routes generally close to you. And especially if you have some experience, you can generally go pretty much wherever you please, barring the market and barring load availability. Another pro is they'll hire you if you're brand new. So I came to night a few years back. I was brand new with no experience, and they hired me right out of the gate. I did get my CDL through night, so that was good. I got my CDL through night, and then they hired me right away. No experience needed. I got training through them, everything through them. So that's a good thing. They will hire you if you were brand new and have absolutely no truck driving experience. Another pro with night transportation is the flexibility. So if you want to take time off, if you want to go to a certain region of the United States, they can generally get you there in a reasonable amount of time. And if you want to take time off in that region, well, they can do that too. So for instance, when I wanted to take time off to play in the World Series of Poker, which I did last year, and I was a company driver, they didn't even question it. They just said, yeah, go right ahead. So I just parked the truck and then played poker for like a couple weeks, and they didn't care. They were totally okay with it. Like, there wasn't even a question. Like, when I asked to do that, just like, hey, can I take like 3 weeks, maybe a month off to play in the World Series of Poker? It was just like, yeah, sure, go right ahead. It's like, oh, okay. And that's exactly what I did. So they're very flexible with you, and they'll do stuff like that. And that's a big plus. And that's a good thing about night transportation, is the flexibility. And another good thing about night transportation, firsthand experience, was the lease program. So while the lease program didn't make me a millionaire or anything like that, it was pretty good. It wasn't predatory. it wasn't a scam. I did end the program with a truck. Now I paid it off early, but they have an early payout option. And overall, I'd give their lease operator program very positive reviews. Uh, it was a good way to gain some experience, test drive a vehicle, wait out the trash market in the umbrella of a mega carrier. And all in all, I had a very good experience with the lease program here, and I give it positive reviews. And I would definitely call it a good thing about it. You may not like the pay, uh, and yeah, there's certainly some critiques to be made there, but I gained experience and I test drove a vehicle and I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish in this lease program. So I'd give the lease operator program at Night Transportation also a very positive review. Yeah, so that's my simple and final review of Night Transportation. The good thing is they'll hire you if you're brand new. They have great terminal locations. They're very flexible, and they got a pretty good lease operator program. And the only con, in my opinion, the only real con worth mentioning is the pay. It's a mega carrier, and it pays like a mega carrier. And that's true whether you're a company driver or a lease operator or even an owner operator if you went that route. So that's my final review at Night Transportation. So going forward, we are now leaving Night Transportation, and we're moving on to Landstar, and I'll be working for them as an owner operator. I have my orientation on Monday, so I should post this video on Sunday, and then as you're watching it, more than likely I'll be at orientation at Landstar. So that takes a couple of days. It's Monday and Tuesday, and then I think I'll probably be booking loads for Landstar maybe by the end of the week. So still working on that, not 100% sure, but probably by the end of the week I would think I would book my first load at Landstar. So I've decided I am going to somewhat shift how I do these videos. So I always try to provide as much information as I can in these videos. I know these videos aren't necessarily like the most entertaining videos, and I'm actually okay with that. There's a lot of trucking videos out there. In my opinion, all of them, I would say 99% of them are probably entertainment, and that's fine. But my goal with this channel was to provide information, and I think that's what I'm going to keep doing. I'm just going to keep trying to provide as much information as I can, and I'm just going to focus on that. And if I could sprinkle in a little bit of entertainment here, I guess I will. But that's not the goal of this channel. The goal of this channel is to provide information. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to book loads, and then I'm going to go over like the Landstar load board and why I'm booking those loads, what my logic is behind those loads. Oh, okay, this is a good load going from here to here, and the destination also has good loads, and there's not a lot of mountains, and the weather's good. I'll do an analysis of why I'm choosing those loads, and that's probably how I'm going to do it from now on. So there's going to be less captures of me dropping and hooking at shippers and receivers, and more of an analysis on why I'm picking certain loads, which I feel will be good information for you guys, and I think that's how I'm going to do it going forward. Couple other notes going forward. I don't think I'm going to be posting a video next week, so there might be like a 2-week gap after this video. I'll be in orientation, and I don't know, I might do a short video on orientation. I'm not sure. I may or may not do that. It depends how orientation goes and if there's any information. I don't think there will be. It's just going to be a classroom setting where they're going over like, hey, here's how to book a load with our load board. Here's what numbers to call, blah blah blah. Here's our policy on this and that. I don't think it'd be worth it really. It's just it's just not really worth it. It's in Phoenix, which is where I'm currently at, and that's about the only noteworthy thing. But I don't think I'll post a video on the orientation or like a summarization of the orientation, because I just don't think it'd be worth it. Now I am working on a video of all of the shorts I've done as a lease operator. So if you guys were looking at your short feed, you may have noticed I was posting some shorts in YouTube, of course, where I would show the spreadsheet like kind of fast forward in a 1-minute synopsis, and I post them to shorts. So I was doing that for like the last 15 weeks or something, and it was every week. So like I'll post a video of this short where I show like week 23, and then I was doing the same thing for week 22, 21, 20, all the way down to, I think I started doing that at like week 10 or something like that. And what I'm planning on doing is taking all of those shorts and stacking them together, and then doing like a week by week analysis of just me doing the spreadsheet real fast, and just doing a compilation of that. So that might come out in the next week or so. I don't know. It depends how much time I have. I should be able to do it, but we'll see. But that might be the only video that comes out. And so that may come out. But other than that, not planning any other videos. And another admin note, people keep asking about the suspenders. If you guys were curious about those, I only wear those when I drive. So like if I'm not driving, like I don't wear them. So like right now I don't have them on because I'm not driving. They're not a fashion statement. I'm just wearing them because they're actually very comfortable. You know, when you're driving and you have a belt on for like 10 hours a day, I just found like the restriction of the belt, you know, kind of just down there is kind of annoying. So I decided, you know, I want to wear a pair of suspenders. And they're actually very comfortable and I like them a lot. But when I am not driving, which I'm currently not doing, and I haven't been for like the last week and a half, I don't wear them. So I still have them, but yeah, not wearing them, but you know, I still have them. If you guys are wondering, I just don't. I just don't wear them if I'm not driving. So that's what that. But other than that, that will actually do it for this episode. I really hope what I've done here over the last year has been helpful to you. Previously, I could not find any of the information that I've been providing here. There just weren't any numbers. So, you know, that's why I started this channel, was to show exactly what truck drivers make, working for mega carriers specifically. So I hope those numbers are very helpful to you. And again, all of the spreadsheets I've done are available in my About section. You can click on them and download them, use them however you want. And that should help you make a more educated decision because, you know, those numbers are my real numbers. I'm not making them up. They're true and accurate to the best of my ability. And you should, you know, be able to make a more informed decision based on those numbers, where previously beforehand, you know, those numbers were not available. So I really hope that's been helpful to you. And I'm gonna keep going. And we're moving on to Landstar now. So we're gonna go ahead and do that. But thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you in the next episode.